Hey guys, how's it going? Before this video starts, I just want to let y'all know that I'm going to be as fair as I possibly can without too much bias. I enjoy the game personally, but I want to give out the points and concerns that others have made in this video so that you, for yourself, can judge whether or not you want to play this. Anyways, enjoy the video. Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, we are going to talk about Anime Rising. Now, currently, as at the time of recording, it is in early access, and it's roughly about 2 hours until launch time. I wanted to get this video out right around launch time so that you yourself can make and judge whether or not you actually want to sink your time and effort into this game. Now, at a first glance, on a personal level, I find the game enjoyable. I'm going to put that out there. I find the game enjoyable. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the likes, the dislikes, and the things I'm kind of in the middle on of my own opinion, and then we're going to take a look at the community's opinion for those who also have early access. Now, let's take a look at the pros first. Now, the overall game is pretty good. It has good sound effects, it has nice VFX, and I can play those for you right now. So I think they're good. I think for a simulator game, it's quite good. The UI looks fantastic. I mean, I kind of roamed through these things already. I mean, the buttons look good, the animations look good, everything seems to be fairly fluid for all the different quests, for all the unit banners, and just everything of that sort. Personally, I think it looks cool. Another positive on the game, in my opinion, is the actual quirk slots. So just like ACS, it also has quirk slots. So you get 3 quirk slots depending on the rarity. Legendary, you get 3 quirk slots, and then when you get to Mythic, you get a 4th slot that is a class quirk that gives you extra bonuses, which I think is pretty cool. It's pretty unique. It makes you want to actually grind for a Mythic version outside of just the increased damage. Some good quality of life things that they have is they have pop-ups for things like the quirks. So if you reroll a quirk real quick, we can skip and then see it'll pop up with a change. Like, do you want to accept this? If you hit keep, nothing changes. If you accept, obviously it changes, right? So that is, in my opinion, a very good thing to have, because if you accidentally roll something you don't want to roll, then you can just choose to not accept the new thing. Another thing that I find super unique and cool is the guide. They have a straight guide for all the kind of things and features that are in the game. So things like Ascension Souls, how to ascend your units to a higher rarity. Factions, just like in the old game, where if you have the same faction, you do more damage. Now, in this, they have elements, which is also pretty cool. The quirks and classes as well. They have 5 different classes which do separate things. So you actually have to take into consideration what's on your team. So I think that's a great thing, especially for people who've never played these types of games before, because, well, if you don't know what you're doing, having a guide like that to make your life easier is an absolute plus. Now, another thing that I find that I don't think I've seen in any other game is in this travel section, where, sure, you can teleport to the beginning zone, but you can also choose to go to any of the other zones where the enemies exist, right? So let's say I'm here in Galactic Ruins and I want to farm the very first enemy. All I have to do is click on that and boom, I'm here. Okay, well, let's say I don't want to farm them anymore and I want to farm the enemy 3. It simply just takes you there and it makes life super easy. I think this is a fantastic feature, especially because it doesn't make you have to run around all the time, especially if you don't want to, and especially if maps are bigger. Okay. Now let's get into the middle ground. I only have one for this right now. The only thing that I currently am kind of in the middle for, like 50-50, is the character models. Now, the models are pretty decent, right? Goku looks great, Mihawk looks great, but then you have others down here, like Yojin looks a little bit wonky in my opinion, as well as people like Mage and Nami looks just... Oh, no, I'm not going to talk about Nami. Yeah, Cha-In looks a little bit wonky too. So they have some... The models are a hit or miss, in my opinion. And I don't think that's necessarily a terrible thing, but I definitely think it's something that they should improve going forward, is putting a little bit more care into the models. Okay, now on to the dislikes, and this is a very, very heavy hitter because of the issues that I have seen. So, this one isn't as bad, right? It's a simulator game, so it can definitely feel repetitive, right? But if you're used to playing it, it's really not going to be that big of an issue, because eventually, as more game modes come out and new content comes out, it'll probably feel less repetitive. Now, this is where I'm not super happy about the game state. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the Season Pass, right? And so you have the Season Pass, right? Your normal Battle Pass, what most games have. The issue that I have is the second tab, the VIP Pass. Now, the VIP Pass itself isn't terrible, but if you look up at the top, you're going to see this remaining time until reset. And the issue is that unlike the normal where you purchase a VIP one time, this is a subscription-based VIP, where you buy it for 1,000 Robux, and you get it for 28 days. Now, personally, I find this to be very off-putting. Ignore the fact that I bought it. But I do find it to be very off-putting, especially because it feels a little bit predatory, in my opinion. I feel like VIP should be the one-time purchase where you buy it and you get the bonuses, and that's it. Like, I think having, like, the Dungeon Pass be, like, a monthly subscription, basically, and a Season Pass being a monthly subscription, I think that's fine, right? Because those are passes, Battle Passes, that's what all Battle Passes do. But having VIP be on a monthly subscription is not great, in my opinion. I feel like it's bad, and I feel like it makes you look a little bit money hungry. Now, on the topic of that, I'm going to toss a screenshot up here, and it's a screenshot of someone asking if secrets are obtainable outside of just summoning. So, as you can see, right, the main thing is like a Rise crossover, where you battle an enemy, and you kill it, and then you have a chance to Arise it. If you get it, then you get it. If you don't, then it is what it is, right? They also have this summoning feature, somewhat similar to the old game, where you spend these gems, and you have pity down here, and then you spend the gems, and you get the pulls, and then these are the rates. Don't worry about the top, those are just shinies, but the average rate for the best unit in the game currently is a 0.01. So, low, yes, but I mean, what can you do? It's the best unit rarity in the game that I am aware of. Now, as you saw on screen, it says that you cannot get secret units outside of summoning. Now, I feel like unless there's not that much of a difference between these classified units and like Mythical 5, which is the highest mythical rarity you can get, then if it's not a big difference, I don't think it's the end of the world. But if there's a marginal difference between Mythical 5 and classified units, I think that's an issue, that you can only get them from summoning. And that's going to lead me into gems. So far, I'm only aware of being able to get gems through weekly tasks, daily tasks, and world quests. So on the right side, these three tabs is the only way to get gems that I am aware of. Outside, yeah, that's it. I was about to say, not income either. That's the only way to get it. That's it. And I feel like that's really bad, because if you go to summon, right, you see 10, right? It's 75,000 gems per 10, which means every single one is 7,500. And as you saw, the rates are 0.01. So even if you were to spend hundreds of thousands of Robux, even then you wouldn't be guaranteed these ultra rare units. And personally, I feel like the free-to-play aspect of this game is in a horrible spot. It is incredibly difficult to get gems, and if those units are insanely good, that would be a problem. All right, enough of my yapping. Let's go take a look at some of these screenshots that I took from the other early access folks. Okay, let's take a look at the first screenshot that I took after asking the question, what do you like about this game, what do you dislike, and what do you think should be changed? So, at the very top, we'll see someone suggesting that the concept is great, and with future updates, it can definitely surpass ACS, but the issue currently is resource and balancing. It's mainly pay to win, and it's very hard to progress as free to play. I personally am gonna have to agree with this because I've been stuck at the 20,000 gems mark for the longest time, and I'm now in the third world, and I'm basically just grinding the last enemy because of the fact that I cannot beat the world boss for that world. So I can definitely see that the balancing needs to be fixed, in my opinion, because I feel like you're definitely not doing enough damage for or compared to the boss's HP and other enemies' HP. Another thing that I saw people complaining about was the Arise tickets. Now, I should have it shown on the screen here, and essentially there are these dungeons, and you get 5 tickets daily where you can take a chance at arising any one of the world's bosses whenever you do that dungeon. And I feel like, in my opinion, it's not the worst, but maybe they should be increased if they want to keep that the Arise tickets, because I feel like 5 is way too little, especially if they only change, I think, like every 5 or 10 minutes. So I feel like that should at least be doubled, but other than that, I don't think that's completely terrible. So as you'll see, Dark said that they don't prefer anything. They just like how pay to win it is, how boring dungeons are, and the subscription and prices should be changed. Now, the subscription prices is whatever. I mean, the game needs to make money to function, but I do agree that VIP should absolutely be a one-time flat pay instead of subscription. I do not like VIPs being subscriptions because usually it's just so off-putting that you only get those benefits for a month when there's already a bunch of other things that are already kind of like the battle pass, for example. That's a 1 month kind of thing or a 2 month kind of thing, and then you have to rebuy it. So I feel like doing the same thing with VIP just isn't great, in my opinion. At the bottom, we will see GBRL say that the hidden is a really low for the Arise chances, especially dungeon bosses. Game pace feels slow unless you spend money in Gem Banner when you can buy so many gems with low Robux and barely get any free to play. So this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where gems feel very non-free-to-play friendly because of how little you get compared to just purchasing the gems outright. So I do agree with this, and I do hope they either increase the rates or decrease how much it costs to summon, because right now there's just not a great way to farm gems. Now, in fairness, the game did just come out, but if it continues on this path of making gems difficult to get, I feel like there can be very many roadblocks down the line. Okay, so in this next screenshot, we have some more opinions. Lug says that the animations in UR are nice. I fully agree. It looks very good in my opinion. Materials to get bosses, summon XP or rate and enemy HP is what he dislikes. I also fully agree with that. I feel like the XP rate is definitely very slow. The enemy HP is definitely high in my opinion. I can definitely feel it here in the third world to the point to where I can't even progress. And yeah, I mean, as Tech is saying, he likes the concept, but you do have to AFK a whole lot. And I feel like simulator games do have that tendency to where you have to AFK a lot, but at the same time, there should be no reason that people are already AFKing this early into the game. I've been playing for probably the last 2-3 hours, and I'm starting to AFK, and personally, I feel like that's bad, because if you're AFKing this early on into the game, then I don't even want to imagine what it's like towards the quote-unquote end game, which is the final world currently out. Cool says that I like the level system that keeps on each unit slot and transfers to the next unit placed in that slot, and he hates the amount of enemy kills you need to ascend the unit to the next rarity. So what I'll do is I'll pop up this on screen real quick, and when you look in here, right, you'll see that at the top there is level markers. Now these aren't per unit, these are per slot, And I think this is a much better kind of thing because it makes it to where if you get new units, you don't have to go spend all that grind time leveling up the unit back to where your old units were. And instead of just upgrading the unit, you just upgrade the slot instead. And personally, I think that is a great addition. It makes things a lot less miserable, in my opinion. And I think it's just a wonderful addition to the game. Now, Lid has some very critique points here. They dislike the Arise system, the summoning with gems, the rates, progression, and the classes. They feel like they did, or that the dev team was trying to do too much with the game, and getting materials like XP and coins is near impossible. You get the same amount from World 1 as World 3. If what they're saying is true, and that materials like XP and coins are the same, I feel like that definitely needs to be changed, because if it's the exact same rate no matter what world, the only point in going to the next world is to get new units. And personally, I feel like that's just a bad thing, because I feel like as you increase in worlds, there should be more rewards, because the XP gaps are going to get bigger and bigger, right? Now, personally, I think the classes are kind of cool. Maybe it seems like a little bit excessive to some people, but I think it's cool. But again, like the summoning with gems and the rates definitely need to be increased and decreased, because the rates right now, it feels sometimes impossible to get what you're looking for. And then again, like I said, the gems is still just a major issue. So Shin said that they liked the rarity design. They disliked how insane the drop weights are for pretty much everything, and it feels like free-to-play will be constantly soft-locked, and they think that they should implement ACS's design. Personally, I think the design so far is pretty cool. I agree with them fully on that, and I also agree that the drop rates should most definitely be increased, because so far I've done all of my daily tickets for raids, I've done other raids, and I've gotten 0 boss drops so far. Okay, on to this next screenshot. Banner says that they like the graphics, UI, and quality, and they dislike how pay to win it is. Again, we covered this not just a few minutes ago. I agree with this. The UI, I think, looks fantastic. It doesn't have that kind of old, sluggish UI. It feels clean. It feels nice. And again, we've talked about how it's very pay to win-esque. And of course, the free-to-play side feels very, very heavy and almost not necessarily impossible to progress, but very difficult. Now, this screenshot, Hercules is giving his own opinions, and the thing I want to point out here is that the very last sentence in that second bullet point, where you don't even know how many times you need to kill one boss on the same dungeon to get that mythic. I do agree that the rates should most definitely be out there, at least somewhere, so you know, even if there's no pity, you should know what the drop rate is, because currently I don't believe we know the drop rate. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but currently we do not know the drop rate. Okay, so Radar said that they enjoy the UI and mechanics wise, and that they do not like the Quirk system and how it should be like the original system that we had in ACS, how pay to win the banner system is, and the Quirk system leading to the lack of builds. I don't feel like the quirk system is necessarily bad, but I do agree that there are some quirks that are a little bit kind of hit or miss, that they aren't super good. So for those ones that are a little bit off the charts, I hope that those get changed and buffed to hopefully fit in better. And again, like we talked about, the banner being pay to win, I hope that gets fixed, because right now it's not in a good state. All right, well, that's pretty much it and all I wanted to cover. I mean, I feel like the game has very good potential for being in a great spot. I just think that it really needs to take the time and iron a bunch of these issues out. Things like the pay to win aspect definitely needs to be ironed out, and it needs to be ironed out immediately. If we continue down the path of making gems annoyingly difficult to get for free-to-play players, I feel like that will absolutely kill the game in the long run. Overall, I think I can give the game probably a 7 out of 10. I feel like it has some very cool aspects. I feel like the design is fairly well there. I just think that things like I said, the banner and the other pay-to-win aspects and the VIP subscription just really need to be changed, because, again, you want the game to thrive and not hit the ground with its head. So on that note, please let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I will absolutely be reading through all of them, and hopefully we can let some of the devs know our thoughts and concerns. If there's any devs watching this, I hope that you will also comment down below and let me know y'all's thoughts and processes for the game and the game mechanics. And I appreciate y'all for watching. I will see y'all in the next one. Real quick here at the end of the video, I just wanted to say that since the game just dropped, Trademark just released some patch notes that actually covered some of the concerns that we saw in this video. So on screen, it says that they increased the coins and XP gains in the later world, which is huge, absolutely needed. They added more items to the shops. They doubled the amount of revive scrolls by default with the dungeon pass. They lowered the HP of 3rd and 4th world bosses, and they increased the HP in tower and dungeons. Overall, I think this is a beautiful patch for the limited amount of time they had, and I'm glad they did this because it was absolutely needed. Anyways, I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below, and I will see y'all in the next one.